Samia anaungua. Right, it is day 4 and the events keep on unfolding in Tanzania. The struggle still continues. However, as highly anticipated, predicted, but also expected, the Electoral Commission in Tanzania has declared the incumbent President Samia Suluhu Hassan as the winner of elections with over 98% of the total vote cast as of this morning. So this is something that we are expecting. However, the struggle still continues in different parts of the country. People are still protesting, but also showing their dissatisfaction concerning, I don't know whether we can say the concluded elections, because like I said, elections is not a one-day event, it is a process. And even after the declaration of who the winner is, I think the process is still ongoing because people are still protesting the outcome of this particular process. Of course, there are rooms for petitions concerning the irregularities, about staffing, the vote rigging, the fabrication, doctoring, but also the manipulation of results. The entire process lacked transparency. It lacked free and fairness. So, per the Constitution of Tanzania, it gives opportunity to those who may be dissatisfied with the results that have been announced, maybe to petition court. But if you're talking about a political environment like one of Tanzania, whereby the institutions of state, especially those that are supposed to deliver justice, are controlled by those who hold power, but also could be in position of compromise and at the same time position of captivity, I don't think they can deliver justice at the end of the day, because in most cases they cannot conduct their constitutional mandate as per the Constitution of Tanzania. But like most of the countries across the continent, they conduct these processes just for ceremonial purposes. At the end of the day, those in charge of the state affairs, especially the incumbents, determine the outcome of these particular processes at the initial stages of the process itself. So it is the same case that we are witnessing in Tanzania. Excuse me. This was the announcement this morning. The pronunciation was done via the official government media, that is the Tanzania, I think the Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation, the TBC. It's where we are tapping from.
Kwa kuzingatia masharti ya ibara ya 41 ibara ndogo ya 6 ya Katiba ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania ya mwaka 1977, ikisoma pamoja na kifungu cha 45 kidogo cha 9 na 10.
So, while the Electoral Commission was announcing who the winner is, people are still on streets in Arusha, Zanzibar, Dar es Salaam, different parts of the country, still protesting the outcome of this particular process. Like I said yesterday, they have been attacking businesses belonging to politicians, those, especially those in CCM, Chama cha Mapinduzi, the ruling party that has been controlling power for the last 65 years in Tanzania. Gas stations, restaurants, hostels, they are taking what belongs to them. Because like I say, these businesses have been established on taxpayers' money. So some of them have been destroyed, others have been dismantled, but the cause is still continuing. Yesterday, official residence of the Speaker of the House, Parliament or Senate or Assembly was touched down yesterday. So these are very similar events in different parts of the country. But like I said, most of the dictators on the continent, they conduct these processes and determine the outcome of the process itself. But I don't think, now, irrespective of the outcome of the ongoing protest in Tanzania, whether people achieve the main objective of the ongoing cause or they not achieve it, like I said, at the end of the day, they would have made a significant statement, a very positive statement towards cracking down the impunity, the mafia system of the Chidema, rather the CCM party in Tanzania. Because you know that CCM has been in power for the last 65 years. And you have a clique of mafias in the system who doesn't want power to go out of their hands. But this kind of crazy percentages that are inflated in nature, doctored but also manipulated, I don't think they should scare anyone who is pursuing the cause of liberating their countries, especially on the continent. Because in 2011, before the overthrow of Hosni Mubarak, Mubarak had won the previous elections with over 90%. But people who he claimed that they had voted him massively were chasing him like a chicken thief. So, most of the juntas who organize, who conduct electoral processes like the one of Uganda, one of Rwanda, similar to one of Cameroon, Tanzania, of course they will come out with these crazy percentages. At the end of the day, they do not reflect the will of the people. They do not reflect the voices of the people. That's why I do say, at the end of the day, you may find out the regime in Tanzania may be overthrown, maybe in the next 6 months, maybe in the next 1 year, maybe in the next 2 years. It's just a matter of time. You get? Because in this particular process, it was Saul competing against Suluhu. It was Samia competing against Hassan. All the candidates that were on the ballot paper were state-sponsored, were state-plotted. So it was the incumbent contesting against the incumbent herself. That is why we are having this kind of crazy percentages. 98%, it cannot happen. Where does it even happen? Because even in Rwanda, for the case of Rwanda, Kagame will formulate a percentage of 99 point something percent. They just concluded the process in Ivory Coast, where Ouattara also locked out a number of opposition candidates. They also came up with a percentage of 83%. And that is the kind of difference with the elections, the nature of elections conducted in Uganda. Because for the case of Uganda, Museveni will not block the formidable candidate from appearing on the ballot. He will allow them to participate. For the case of the ongoing process, Bobi Wine is on the ballot. 2001, 2006, 2011, 2016, Dr. Kanukiza Besigye was on the ballot. But at the end of the day, he will determine the outcome of this particular process at the initial stages of the process itself, through the manipulation of results, through the doctoring of results, fabrication of results, vote stuffing, vote rigging, using the state machinery. And at the end of the day, Museveni might not be having these crazy percentages because the formidable candidates will be there. But he must determine the outcome of the process itself, whereby he will announce himself as the winner at whatever cost. Because for the case of Uganda, the highest percentage Museveni has ever scored, I think it was in the 1996 elections, and it was around 74%. The rest of the elections that he has conducted, he has been scoring some kind of 50 something, 60 something. Okay. But these other countries, they will look out to the formidable candidates, and then they will be competing against themselves. For the case of Uganda, the competition will be there. But again, the outcome of the results, the process itself, must be determined by those who control power, who control the state resources, who control the state institutions, but also control the state machinery. So that is the only difference. But the outcome will be the same. So elections conducted in Africa can never deliver tangible results. So for the case of Uganda, we are embarking on the same process, but the outcome is going to be the same. The incumbent in the names of dictator Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will declare himself as the winner. You get? And at the end of the day, don't expect the Western governments to denounce the government of Tanzania in line with the nature of the electoral process that they conducted. I don't expect that kind of move from the West, because you see, there were a number of observers in Tanzania, and I saw even the Ugandan government send delegation of observers to Tanzania to observe the entire process. But at the end of the day, they will make 2-3 resolutions and recommendations, but again, they will acknowledge, but also recognize the government of Tanzania amidst conducting such kind of elections. And few hours from now, you will see a number of presidents congratulating Madam Samia Suluhu, including the continental bodies like African Union, then the regional bodies like the East African Community, then maybe the SADC, maybe ECOWAS, maybe IGAD, amidst witnessing such kind of a sham process. So, the responsibilities of uprooting such rogue regimes out of power goes back to the citizens.
Samia ameungua.